number one secret to being a successful leader is awareness. Too many people are blind to their own leadership potential and impact. Hi, I'm 𝗪𝗂𝗹𝗶, the founder of POP and 𝗪𝗪𝘁, and today we're talking about leadership styles. In this video, I'm going to introduce the three types of leader: the purpose leader, performance leader, and well-being leader, and give you a simple way of determining your unique leadership blueprint. Because awareness is the foundation of success. When we know where we are and where we want to go, we can formulate a strategy to get us there. So stick around to the end of this video and I'll be explaining how exactly you can do that to elevate your leadership. Okay, so let's talk leadership styles. Firstly, if I asked you the question, are you a leader? What would you say? Yes or no? And then if I asked you to describe or to think about what it means to be a leader, or what words you'd use to describe what a leader is, I asked this question to a group with the IGD. Over hundreds of leaders joined for this session, and we got in a Menti board. And in a Menti board, they gave their answers. So as you can see here, these are some of the most popular terms for what they thought leadership looked like and meant. Supportive, inspiring, role model, honest, direction, coach. The reality is there's so many different articulations of what a leader is, expectations of how a leader shows up. The definition for leadership that I most like is Brené Brown's. It's this: a leader is anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in both people and processes and has the courage to develop that potential. The reason I like it so much is because it's an inclusive definition. Leadership isn't a title. This definition of leadership expands to anyone who decides, right, I'm going to find potential in something outside. I'm going to find potential in other people. I'm going to find potential in a process. I'm going to find potential in myself. And I'm going to lean into the courage. I'm going to be brave enough to develop that potential. The way that we show up as a leader can look different according to who we are as individuals. But what I started to notice after coaching hundreds of leaders, I started to see some patterns. There are three different types of leader: the purpose leader, the performance leader, and the well-being leader. Now, before we go in and dive into what those look like, I'm going to ask you another question. A question that I often will ask of teams I work with. How self-aware do you feel like you are? Are you self-aware? Most people believe that they're self-aware, but according to this study reported in the Harvard Business Review, actually only 10 to 15% of people studied actually fit the criteria. Now, interestingly, this study was done across more than 3,600 leaders across different roles, industries. What I found particularly interesting was that with leaders with more tenure or more experience that actually were less self-aware than those with less experience. I'm going to invite you to look at your finger. Take your finger, turn it around and have a look at it. Just spend a couple of minutes, not minutes, couple of seconds looking at your finger. Can you spot something on your finger, be it the fingertip that you've never noticed before, a mark, a line? The thing is, you've lived with your finger your whole entire life. And yes, it might have got bigger, but your fingerprint actually doesn't change. That's why it's used to identify you. But how well do you know yourself? The reason I reckon this is so important is because awareness is the foundation of success. Awareness and belief. And I'm not going to talk about belief in this video, but when we are aware, we are able to consciously prioritize. When we're consciously prioritizing, we are able to take meaningful action aligned with our priorities. And therefore, we're much more likely to achieve the desired change that we want in order to succeed. It starts with a foundation of awareness. Awareness is the foundation of success. We're going to be exploring your current leadership blueprint. It might be that you are the purpose leader. Perhaps you're the performance leader. Or perhaps you are the well-being leader. Before we dive in, the best place to start in order to understand that is to take this quiz. It takes literally 2-3 minutes. You can scan it right here, or the link will be in the description. But when you take this quiz, you're going to find out what is your unique combination of these 3 leadership types: the well-being leader, the purpose leader, and the performance leader. If you've taken the quiz and you choose to leave your email address, what we will then send you is a personalized report specific for your dominant type. So you're going to have all of this information, a video to watch, even a Pinterest board to explore relating to your unique leadership style. Because every single one of us is a unique configuration of all 3. We're not one specific type. And actually that shifts and evolves over time. So to bring that to life, this is a split of a session that I ran with the IGD, the Institute of Grocery Distribution here in the UK. So there were hundreds of leaders that took this quiz, participated as part of this workshop. And this was their split. You can see is that performance leadership was first for the majority of participants. So almost half, that was their number 1, followed by purpose, followed by well-being. What you're going to do when you take the quiz is understand what is your unique configuration. And then once you've done that, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to ask you to reflect on what the impact is of that shape. If purpose leadership was your top, what did that then mean for you? If performance leadership was your number 1, what did that then mean? And if well-being leadership was your bottom, as it is for me, well, what does that then mean for you? What impact does it have on you and others? What are the costs associated with having that shape, that unique leadership blueprint right now? And what does that mean for you as a leader? For the majority of my career, this was probably the best representation of my blueprint. I had a huge, huge leaning towards performance leadership. Well-being, by comparison, was teeny, teeny, tiny. Now, as you'll see, if you take the quiz, that every single type has strengths and challenges associated with that. As I say, you'll get a unique report specifically for you that will bring that to life. For me, some of the challenges of having such a dominant leaning towards performance leadership was that I am constantly, or I used to be constantly, a burnout risk. That I rely more than other people on external validation, or at least I used to, and that I was sometimes forgetting and missing the bigger picture. And I was prioritizing my career over my health, my relationships, my well-being, my growth, my finances. I was putting first above and beyond my loved ones, above and beyond my mental well-being, above and beyond having fun. And I, like many of those for whom performance leadership is dominant, was terrified of these 3 things. What I've learned from studying, from working with leaders for the past 5 years plus, is that we are an evolution. We get to evolve our styles, our blueprints. So my question to you, after understanding yourself a little bit deeper when you've taken the quiz, is really to understand, well, what do you want that evolution to be for you? How do you want or need your leadership to shift? This is probably a better representation of my blueprint right now. Purpose leadership has become my number 1. Performance leadership has shrunk. And well-being, well, that is still a big challenge for me. So my evolution of my own blueprint is for well-being to grow. Awareness is powerful because it doesn't mean that you have to completely shift who you are, and you don't have to shift what is your dominant style. It might be working for you, but having an understanding of what are some of the pitfalls and challenges and where you might want to evolve and adapt can be incredibly powerful. The leader that lasts is a combination of all 3. That doesn't mean to say that we're aiming to be a 33% on every single one. No, that's not the point. We're trying to evolve and lean in when appropriate to each of the 3 types of leadership. A leader that lasts makes a difference, whether or not that's big or small. A leader that lasts doesn't burn out or quit before they're ready. And they also lean into and leverage their unique strengths to outperform. Hopefully this has been a helpful overview. What we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is I'm going to be recording a video for each of the different leadership styles. So I didn't have time to go through what each of them looked like in detail to help you spot which one might be you. That's why I'm suggesting go to the quiz and do that now, and you can get a preview of what that looks like. But in order to understand where you are now and what your next evolution is going to be, it helps to get a basis of the different styles. So my final question for this video is, where are you now? And with that understanding, where does your next evolution get to be? And that's a wrap. So could you start to recognize yourself in one of those 3 leadership types? Have you taken the quiz? The reality is you are a unique combination of all 3. As we explored, that gets to evolve. But we can't evolve unless we know where we're coming from. Well, not consciously. So if you haven't already taken the quiz, the link is in the description. Over the next 3 weeks, though, we're going to be diving in detail to each of the 3 leadership types. So see you soon for that.